the new V2. I thought I wouldn't change the V1 for quite some time, but I've had it in production for 2 years, the V1. Won just about everything that I would want it to win. And I still think, I still thought it could have been a little bit better. And so I came up with something with a bit straighter nose rocker. I listened to one of my team riders, Scott Trudon, on narrowing the tail, thinning it out. I didn't want to make it too thin in the bow section, so I moved the volume once again, more forward, less volume right where you're standing, thinner in the tail, but most volume really at the first third of the board. I gave the undertuck a little bit of a different contour, quite a bit more undertuck, more forgiving. While doing so, I decreased the amount of flat area in here, so I increased the volume a bit to give it the same stability. And what we end up is actually something that is a little bit more stable than the V1, and but more maneuverable. And when the side chop is there, it's more forgiving. So ends up steering really nicely. These brakes in the front section of the board are kind of like flow disturbances for the wind and the water. The water can't quite flow over this, and it turns green water into white water. So it submarines easier, and when you get a side breeze going, this front section of the board doesn't act like a sail. It breaks up the wind a little bit, so you don't get side swept as much. You don't have to steer as much. That's the thought behind these 4 ridges on each side.
What does submarine mean?
Submarine is when you poke, when you stick the nose in the water, how easily it comes back out. That's what I meant with submarining.
Okay. And then does this board now make the version 1 obsolete?
No, there's quite a few people that still like the narrower version, the V1, the 26 and 5/8. 28, if you want more stability and probably a longer glide, then the V2 is better for you. The V1 is more forgiving because it's got more nose rocker than the V2. So I'd say this is a bit more technical to ride again. But when it comes down to Parlolo or Kaiwi Channel, and you have to corner bare right to make it to Hawaii Kai, I think this is a better choice. It will glide longer. It's not necessarily a faster board, but it will connect better. It will stay on a bump longer, the V2 as the V1.
Same weight?
Same weight, same price, same length. One is 1.25 inches wider than the other.
And how much does it weigh?
This one is normal weight is 31, the ultralight's at 28.
Okay. And does ultralight make it weaker at all?
Yeah, more fragile. Weaker, however you call it, but the puncture resistance of a normal layup is better. Yeah. I use less carbon on the skin. You know, there's no other way to save weight than to use, it's a higher end carbon, that's why it's more costly. There's less demand for the type of carbon that I use on the ultralights. Yep.
And then, so this is what all the team riders are riding?
Some team riders like the normal weight. I personally like the normal weight as well. Andrea, this one is ultralight. Scott Trudon likes the normal weight, and Livia wants ultralight.
Why would you go with normal weight?
It has a better inertia. Once you're on the bump, it keeps on trucking basically. But to get on the bump, a lighter board is a better choice. But once you're on it, you'll glide longer on a heavier board. And it's also less nervous in gnarly conditions, the heavier boards. Yeah.
But for Hawaii Kai run, probably the lighter.
Lighter is probably more advantageous. Yeah.
Cool. And they're in production now?
They're in production now. Yeah. We're still quite a ways out. We're about 3 months out, but yep, they're available.
Okay, sounds good.